Hey, what's up? John Sonmez from simpleprogrammer.com. So I got an interesting question. I'm going through my email here, and I got this question that made me stop in my tracks and go on all these different paths because now I'm curious here. So anyway, this question is about personality tests. So I'm going to read you the question. So it is from Yelena, and Yelena says, "Hi John, have you ever done an MBTI personality test?" So if you're not familiar with that, that's like the Briggs-Myers test, you know, all those personality quizzes. I'm sure you've done something like this in the past. So she says, "I've done it recently, so I was wondering what your type would be. You seem like an interesting person. My guess is ISTJ or ISTP. Tell me if I'm wrong. All the best, Yelena." So I haven't actually taken an official test. The official MBTI personality test is like $50. I'm not going to pay $50 for it, but I did find a quiz that I'm going to take right now, and we're going to see what I am. Now, I'll tell you in a little bit. I'll tell you right now. I don't really believe in these personality. I don't like the idea of classification, but let's just go ahead and see where I fall into this, and you can watch me take this test. So let's see here. This one is from 16personalities.com, and I'm going to answer these questions, and you can watch me answer the questions here. Okay, so here we go. Let's see. You find it difficult to introduce yourself to other people. That one's laughable. Oh, wait a minute. I'll have to say disagree, I think, considering that I make YouTube videos, and, you know, I'm sure you've seen the famous video where I introduce myself to 3 people on the beach. So anyway, you often get lost in thoughts that you ignore or forget your surroundings. Do I get lost in thoughts that I ignore or forget my surroundings? Yeah, pretty much all the time. I will just drive like I'm on autopilot. I'll be walking down the street, and I will like walk into the middle of the street. Yeah, I'm gonna do a strong agree on that one. Then let's see. You try to respond to your emails as soon as possible and cannot send a messy inbox. That's what I'm doing right now. So I'm going to have to say agree on this one. I have to it's 10 o'clock. I'm like, no, I got to finish my emails. Got to get them all inbox 0. If I don't have a day where I'm at inbox 0, it's just, I can't take it. Okay. You find it easy to stay relaxed and focused even when there's some pressure. This is an interesting one. See, this is one of those places where I didn't talk about this yet, but I think it's context-based. I think, for the most part, I think this is probably true. Like, I'm pretty cool under pressure. Like, most people will be flipping out, losing their heads, and I can stay pretty relaxed and focused and get stuff done. But again, I don't. I'm gonna put the strong agree on this. I'm gonna always put strong agree or strong disagree, by the way, because that's definitely my personality for sure. So okay, you do not usually initiate conversations. Yeah, let's just put disagree on that. Let's see. You rarely do something just out of sheer curiosity. Holy crap. Do I rarely do something out of... Oh, and I got to understand... Okay, do you rarely do something just out of sheer curiosity? Disagree. I always do things out of sheer curiosity. I definitely, if I were a cat, I'd be dead for sure. Okay, you feel superior to other people. All right, fine, I'll just put strongly agree. That's what people think. I don't really feel superior to other people, but everyone would say that I do, so I'm just going to strongly agree. All right. Being organized is more important to you than being adaptable. Damn. Now, see, this one is actually hard. But I have to look around my office and say that I like being organized. I do. I do like being organized. I like having, but I never am organized, even though I like being organized. Well, that's not true though. Like, I will organize the shit out of stuff. Okay, obviously this has to be a strongly disagree. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go with this one over than strongly disagree. So we're gonna just more than slightly disagree. We're just gonna disagree, not strongly or not slightly. Okay. You are usually highly motivated and energetic. We'll have to go with strongly agree on that one. Winning a debate matters less to you than making sure no one gets upset. Strongly agree. Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure I answer that right. It's weird how they phrase these. Winning a debate matters less to you than making. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Wait a minute. Hold on. Winning a debate matters less to you than making sure no one gets upset. Do I agree that it? Yes. Yes, I agree with that. Okay. All right. You often feel as if you have to justify yourself to other people. That's a weird. I don't think so. I'm actually gonna go with disagree, but not strongly disagree. Well, no, I'm gonna go with strongly disagree. Well, that's interesting because what I'm doing right now is sort of. Would you call it justifying? I don't know. I don't think it's justifying. I think it's just talking about it. I'm going to go strongly disagree. I don't think I've ever really justified myself to. I've maybe explained my actions, but justifying, no. I always feel I'm right. So, your home and work environments are quite tidy. Damn it! Look around my room again. So I've gone, but see, this is again where the contextual. But here's the thing. I don't have any furniture in here right now, right? When I do get furniture in here, this is going to be friggin' clean. It's going to be perfectly organized. Everything is going to have a home and a place for itself. That's where I think this is contextually based. So normally my stuff is quite tidy, right? If you look at some of my old videos, right, my office is pretty much always tidy. Like this is tough. So I'm probably gonna have to go neutral. This is a weird one for me. I'm gonna go neutral here. But I think this is I think I could be strongly agree at certain points in my life, and I could be strongly disagree at certain points in my life. Again, this is one of the reasons why I don't think that these tests, why I think personality is dynamic, and I think it's contextual based, and I think it depends on who you're hanging with. But we're not getting into that. Let's continue in the test, and then we'll get into that. Okay, you do not mind being at the center of attention. I agree. You consider yourself more practical than creative. See, this is another tough one, right? Because am I more practical or creative? I'm definitely practical. I'm pragmatic, but I'm also creative. So it depends. So why I don't understand why those are opposites, right? Why can't you be practical and creative? So it says consider yourself more. I think I'm more practical than creative. I think the practical side of it is more so, even though that sounds weird to say, but like you think of this channel, right? All the advice I give, it's practical advice, right? I'm telling you to be a realist. I'm telling you to be practical, so I'm gonna have to say, I'm just gonna agree. I'm not gonna strongly agree here. People can rarely upset you. That is definitely true. It is pretty dang hard to push my buttons. There's only one person I know really well that could push my buttons, and she's sort of lost the ability to do so. And she disagrees, I'm sure. All right, your travel plans are usually well thought out. Yes, definitely agree. Hold on. I plan them out in advance, but I always assume that I'm just going to be able to take an Uber, or sometimes I don't know what hotel I'm staying at until I'm in the Uber, but that's because I'm so damn busy. So I think they're pretty well thought out. I'm never not knowing where I'm going. I know exactly where I'm supposed to be. I just know that I'm going to figure it out at that time. But so they're thought out. They're planned out. I mean, I book trips months in advance. I double check the dates. So, okay, I'm going to put strongly agree there. It is often difficult for you to relate to other people's feelings. No, that's definitely a disagree. I'm pretty empathetic. I definitely get what people are saying. That's why I'm effective. That's why you're watching this channel probably, is because I get your feelings. Hopefully, so anyway, your mood can change very quickly. I'm going to disagree. I mean, strongly disagree, because my mood doesn't really usually change very quickly. There's some things that could set me off and put me in a spiral, but not relative to other people, and that's what this question is probably asking. So, okay, in a discussion, truth should be more important than people's sensitivities. Absolutely. Truth is the most important thing. Now, but here's again, I am tactful for the most part, right? I will present the truth in the best way possible, but the truth is more important. Or I just won't present it at all. Some people, I won't even give them the truth because there's no point. They're just going to get upset and it's not going to do any good. But in general, I'm going to have to answer this question with strongly agree, because that's what I think, is that the truth is more important. So, and that's another thing, right, that's interesting about the test, is there's what you think and what do you do, right? Because how do you act is not necessarily what you think, because being a logical human being who understands how people operate, to some degree, a lot of times I will do differently than what I think, because I know that even though I feel strongly about a thing, or I think that things should be this way, the world doesn't actually work that way, and it's not going to be effective action. So, again, okay, but we're going to answer this mostly on, I think, how I think. So, you rarely worry about how your actions affect other people. Yeah, I don't really worry about that. Not really. I consider it, but I don't really worry about it. Like, I think through how they might affect other people, but I'm not worried about it. Your shit is your own shit. My shit is my shit. If you got a problem with me, that's your problem, not my problem. Your work style is closer to random energy spikes than the methodological and organized approach. This one's a tough one, because I've trained myself to be methodological, because my natural tendency would be to be a chaotic, hyperactive ADHD person going on energy spikes. And I have to fight that today. So this is weird, because it is true that my work style is closer to methodological, right? I mean, I've got my Kanban board here, right? I'm answering emails and recording YouTube videos because that's what I'm supposed to do right now, today. That's why I'm doing it. So I have to rein that in on purpose. So yeah, so I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm going to answer this one. I'm going to say that it is. I know exactly what I'm working on pretty much every day, and I'm pretty consistent. So I'm going to say that it's that I disagree, strongly disagree. In fact, I'll just put a disagree. I won't put a strongly disagree. I'll just put disagree, because I'm so methodological. You know what? No, I have to put strongly disagree, because I am so, I don't know many people that have a system of working on things as detailed as what I do. So, okay. You're often envious of others. Disagree. I'm not. Okay. An interesting book or video game is often better than a social event. That's kind of weird. I definitely strongly disagree with this, but you would think that in the past I would have probably agreed, but only because I didn't know how to act socially. I still would prefer. I mean, this is definitely true, because I always go to a conference and I'm like, oh, I'm going to spend the night working tonight and getting some work done while I'm away, and I'm always partying or out there, and not necessarily whatever, but I'm talking to people. So, all right, being able to develop a plan and stick to it is the most important part of every project. Yes, agree, strongly agree. Yeah, that's it. That's definitely. I mean, this is what I tell you guys: is you got to get a plan and you got to stick to the fucking plan. Right. In fact, I have a video right here on my Trello board that I'm supposed to be doing. I'll show you. We'll just look at this, just to show you I'm not making this shit up. Right? Is if we go right here, make a plan, stick to the fucking plan. Do you see that? Make a plan, stick to the fucking plan. So I think that answers that question pretty clearly there. All right, we're not even close to done with this. This is gonna be a long ass video. It's supposed to be like a short video. Okay, you really get carried away by fantasies and ideas. No, I'm a dreamer by far. So disagree. All right, you often find yourself lost in thought when you're walking in nature. Yeah. Okay, you guys have seen my run, and sometimes I forget there's a beach there. There's an ocean. I'm running along the ocean, and I'm so lost in thought that I'm not even realizing that there's an ocean. So, okay, if someone does not respond to your email quickly, you start worrying if you said something wrong. No, I strongly disagree. I don't care. As a parent, you would rather see your child grow up kind than smart. Ooh, that's a tough one. I'd rather her grow up smart, honestly, because smart is going to be a better. I would, I don't even really like the word kind. I think kind is kind of a wussy word. I'd say pragmatic and empathetic, not kind. You do not let other people influence your actions. Oh yeah. I strongly agree. I don't know why so many people try to do. I always tell my dad is like, this does not understand this. If he's watching, sorry, Dad, but you can't bully me. I cannot be bullied. Like, nothing. Guilt never works on me. Never works on me. No matter what. People try it all the time, and I'm like, are you kidding me? This is the worst person that you could possibly try to guilt or bully or peer pressure. None of that works on me ever. Your dreams tend to focus on the real world and its events. The real world and its events. That's a really weird question. I'm just going to say strongly agree because I'm a realist. So, okay. Next, here we go. It does not take you much time to start getting involved in social activities at your new workplace. Oh yeah, I agree. It doesn't take me long at all. But of course, my workplace is just me sitting in my office by myself. So, you are more of a natural improviser than a careful planner. Damn, see, this one is tough. Again, I'm a very careful planner. Well, okay. I also improvise. So, this is tough. Like, I plan out my week, I plan out my activities, my day, but I rely on improvisation mostly. I naturally improvise. Like, if you put me in a situation, when I do YouTube videos, I am improvising on the spot every single time. I mean, that's why I'm shipping 2 YouTube videos a day, is because I will improvise on the spot. So I'm going to have to go with, agree on natural improviser than a careful. Even though the planning is a forced behavior that I force myself to do, and it's not so natural. Okay. Your emotions control you more than you control them. Disagree. You're going to social events that involve what? Oh, you enjoy going to social events that involve dress up or role play activities. Yeah, I'm into that. Let's see. Dress up or role play activities. I've never been to a social event that involves dress up or role play activities, at least not one that I'll talk about here. So I'm going to say agree. That sounds like fun. I would do that. If you've got an event where I'm going to have to dress up and role play, you can invite me to it and I might go. So, all right. You often spend time exploring unrealistic and impractical yet intriguing ideas. Oh, yeah, guilty. You would rather improvise than spend time coming up with a detailed plan. What would I rather do? Would I rather come up with a detailed plan or improvise? I'd rather improvise. Definitely would rather improvise. Okay. You're a relatively reserved and quiet person. Disagree. If you had a business, you would find it very difficult to fire loyal but underperforming employees. Disagree. I do have a business, and I have no problem giving someone the axe. All right. You often contemplate the reasons for human existence. Holy crap, yes. Is there like a super, I'm doing it right now? Logic is usually more important than heart when it comes to making important decisions. This is tough. Because I go with my gut. But I'm also very practical. So what is it? Is it logic or heart? All right, I'm gonna do a barely on the logic side on this one, because I think it's just logic is probably slightly on the more influential. Okay, keeping your options open. Again, this is one of those ones. Why does it have to be logic or heart? I think you can use your heart and logic together. I don't know. All right, keeping your options open is more important than having a to-do list. Damn. See this one. Yeah, I'm going to have to strongly disagree on this one, because I do have I know what I'm supposed to do during the day, and if you actually want to get shit done, you got to have you got to know what you're supposed to do. When you sit down at the desk, you got to know what you're supposed to do. So, keeping your options open, that's a bullshit excuse to me. All right. if your friend is sad about something, you're more likely to offer emotional support than suggesting ways to deal with the problem. Nope, I'm definitely going to tell you how to deal with your problem. All right. You rarely feel insecure. Agree. You have no difficulties coming up with a personal timetable and sticking to it. I'm going to put strongly agree because it's definitely true. I can stick to a plan and I come up with a plan. It's against my nature though, which makes it tough. But that is so part of me now that is my nature now. So again, this is one of those, another reason why I'm just not so keen on classifying people and things. So it's contextual based. Being right is more important than being cooperative when it comes to teamwork. See, this one you would expect me to say agree with everything else I've answered, but I'm going to have to say strongly disagree. So it makes me question the test, but, oh, my mouse just froze. Oh, there we go. Oh, great. My Surface Book is wigging out on me. Well, I'm going to have to use my finger or a pen. So on the teamwork thing, teamwork is really important. You have to be cooperative on the team. Otherwise you're not going to get anything done. So being right doesn't matter so much on a team as being cooperative. Because it's better to have as long as the decision isn't totally wrong, I would rather take the 90% decision than the 99% effective one and have no one cooperate. So, but again, this is a very subjective again. All right. You think everyone's views should be respected regardless of whether they are supported by facts or not? Disagree. Sorry, Bernie supporters. Sorry. You feel more energetic after spending time with a group of people. Agree. Definitely. I think my wife could attest to that. You frequently misplace your things. Disagree. I don't remember the last time I lost something. Okay, you see yourself as very emotionally stable. Agree. Strongly agree. Your mind is always buzzing with unexplored ideas and plans. Strongly agree. You would not call yourself a dreamer. Strongly disagree. I'm definitely a dreamer. I already said I'm a dreamer. Come on. There we go. Okay. You usually find it difficult to relax when talking in front of many people. Okay, Exhibit A, the screaming video. My vault talk. So we're going to have to say disagree. Difficult to relax. I disagree that it's difficult to relax. Okay. Generally speaking, you rely more on your experience than your imagination. Do I rely on experience? No, I rely more on imagination. Well, no, because a lot of the things that I talk about do not come directly from experience. They come from me thinking about them in deep thought. Somewhat inexperience, but so yeah, definitely imagination. Okay, I disagree about relying more on experience. Okay. You worry too much about what other people think. Disagree. Do not worry what people think. Okay. And then this is the last page here. We're almost done. If the room is full, you stay closer to the walls, avoiding the center. No. Like a wallflower. This question should just say, are you a wallflower? Do you flower on the walls? You have a tendency to procrastinate until there is not enough time to do everything. Oh no. I do not do that at all. I get stuff done way ahead of time. Everything is ahead of schedule. Now, I used to be the opposite, right? As a kid, I was totally the opposite. I would procrastinate until the deadline and then I wouldn't get it done. Now I get stuff done if you give me a deadline, I'll be done a week ahead of time. It's almost guaranteed. Okay, you feel very anxious in stressful situations. Disagree. You believe that it is more rewarding to be liked by others than to be powerful. What? You believe it's more okay, so I'd rather be liked by others or be powerful? I'd rather be powerful. So let's see, you believe it's more important to be okay, so I disagree. I think it's more important to be powerful than to be liked, obviously. Okay, you have been interested in unconventional and ambiguous things, e.g. in books, arts, or movies. Oh, you have always been interested in unconventional and ambiguous things. Books, art, or movies. Yeah, I mean, I don't think those are good examples, but I'm definitely interested in unconventional, ambiguous things. Philosophy, computer science, crazy, all the crazy stuff that I talk about on this channel, obviously, right? Okay. You often take initiative in social situations. Strongly agree. Time for the results. Let's see. Predictions here. Holy crap, this is interesting. So, INTJ. Oh no, ENTJ. What did I think I was in my email? Let me see. I think I said I was. Oh, I said I was ENTJ, and I am ENTJ. Hey, what do you know? I guessed right. Before I took the test, I looked at the things and said, "What am I?" And ENTJ. So I definitely got that exactly on. So, and I'm like 100% extroverted. 80% intuitive, 67% thinking, 75% judging, and 100% assertive. Oh, this is like a fifth element here. Yeah, I'm definitely 100% assertive. Okay, I would agree with this in general. So, okay, so let's see. Oh, ENTJ personality, the commander. You can just from now on, if you don't want to call me sir, you can just call me the commander. By the way, if you send me an email, I know some of you have sent me an email, sir, since you like to be called sir. Now you can call me the commander. So, okay. So, let's see. Oh, here is Steve Jobs' quote. There we go. Perfect. Let's see. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma. Break the rules. All right. Which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary. Steve Jobs. Okay. ENTJs are natural born leaders. People with this personality type embody the gifts of charisma and confidence and project authority in a way that draws crowds together behind a common goal. So, happiness lies in the joy of achievement. Yep. Okay. I'm going to just scan through this. The underlying thought running through ENTJ mind might be something like, I don't care if you call me an insensitive. What curse word starts with a B and ends with a D? Bitched? A bitch ass D? I don't know. Anyway, as long as I remain an efficient B. Oh, bastard. Okay. I don't know if I don't care if you call me an insensitive bastard as long as I remain an efficient bastard. That should be my slogan. I'm going to put that on my tombstone actually. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much cultivating the science of human relationships. Yeah, ENTJs are true powerhouses. They cultivate an image of being larger than life, and often enough they are. Okay, so, well, I was planning on after this saying that these tests are all bullshit, but since they're stroking my ego so well with the results of my tests, I'm going to have to say this is highly accurate stuff here. No, I'll still be pragmatic here. So, even though this seems pretty accurate for me, in general, I think that personalities are more context based. Well, I think here's what I would say: classification is a dangerous thing. Because when you start to classify people, they'll start to act how you classify them, right? And this is why people don't like stereotypes and racism, is because sometimes the stereotypes can actually cause people to act what they think they're supposed to be like, right? And I think you see that when we look at stereotypes, it's a chicken or the egg problem. And I think racism to some degree is caused by the sexism, all of these things. I think sometimes that is the issue, it's classifying. So I'm against classification in general. I don't like to differentiate people based on physical attributes, mental attributes, personality, any of those things, because I feel like it causes them to not be put into a box, and they don't realize that they can expand beyond that box. So I think there's some value in something like this, because you can kind of get a general idea of who you are now, as long as you understand that's who you are now. But I do think also that a lot of personalities are going to be context-based, right? When I am in front of the camera, I am a slightly different personality than I will be in person. That's going to be a given, right? When you're in front of a group of friends that are close friends, you're going to act differently. And it's going to depend on who those friends are. And I can tell you, I have some ghetto-ass friends, right? And when I am with them, I'm talking differently, I'm acting differently, the behavior, I'm a little bit of a different John, right? And when I am talking with my more intellectual friends, I'm a little bit of a John, right? And when I'm with my close family and relatives, I'm a little bit of a John. I'm different in front of a camera. I'm different if I'm talking to strangers, right? And depending on what the context of the situation is. So I think that those are true, and it depends on another thing that's context based is pressure or stress, right? If there's high pressure, personality types change, right? I think there's another one. There's that DISC profile, and that actually takes that into account. So it says, under pressure, or when people are observing, how do you behave versus. So I think that this is really difficult to, like I said, I think there's some value in this. Obviously, I expected this to be just total BS, but when I read this, and it does fit me pretty dang well, right? These are I can't honestly, to be totally honest, I was planning on just saying this is total bullshit, but now that I read this, it seems like it's more. I'll be honest, I was wrong. I'm being honest. So anyway. My whole point is this, though. Don't take this too. These things are fun, and maybe you can get some value out of it. But one, don't take this too seriously, and two, just because you are this or whatever your test comes out as, don't believe that that's absolutely set in stone and that can't change. Because I guarantee you that I was not born an ENTJ. I guarantee you, I was not at all. But that's probably what I am. Quote now, and I probably won't be that in maybe 10 years or 20 years. I don't know, or maybe it'll be a slightly different thing. The spectrum of human personality is so broad that I don't like to classify the whole thing that way. So anyway, thanks Elena for the question. I think this was good. I still can't use my mouse here, but yeah, this is fun. And hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you want to actually have me take the real test, like I said, I'm not going to pay $50, but if you want to, you can, whatever, email me or whatever, or send me a link to the test, and I'll do it. But I think this was a fun experiment to go through this anyway. Let me know, post below what your results are. I'm just curious how many of you are one thing. Maybe I'll tally it up and see. I'm just curious out of the audience, like, how many of you are what personality type. That'll be a fun experiment. And share this video so we can get more input. That'd be kind of fun. Is what if all of you shared this on your Twitter, and then, or whatever social media, and then we got a bunch of people's responses, and we got to kind of figure out who watches these videos and what their personality types are. So anyway, if you like this video, subscribe to the channel.